Alright guys, we'll be checking this conspiracy theory of everything from spirit science. I think that got blocked 2 times already, so they trying again. And I will side with YouTube immediately. I don't think spirit science has enough reputation to make me think otherwise. Normally I'm just like a free roaming person who doesn't take sides. And that's a lot more interesting to live that way. That's the way to escape Matrix, which is another thing that they say immediately. Open your mind, escape the Matrix. Yeah, you might just not like my opinions when I open my mind. I do live as an outcast, I do live outside the matrix of normal people, as well as celebrities have that advantage as well. They don't need to live like normal people because they have to provide the most valuable things to the world. Celebrities can be anything that produces really uh, game changing, basically, stuff to the world and have a face attached to that product. So, yeah, I'm kind of triggered by this. I'm like, what does it mean to escape the matrix? Probably normal people can only do it for one day. They can like gather enough courage to talk to me for one day. Imagine that I have psychic abilities or whatever, and I probably will be able to explain a lot of shit in their life. But overall, you're not supposed to find time to watch videos like these that are actually scary and have nonsense imagery from the very beginning. I'm not sure what I'm heading into and what kind of conspiracy nonsense I'm gonna be presented. I don't expect very much. I expect my video to be much more groundbreaking or whatever, uh, while this is just gonna fall flat, like most things do on YouTube. Because simply, YouTubers are not being held responsible, they're just supposed to there to provide random material to work with so I can lay on top and like still make better video than they do with 3 hours of work. Just lay a blanket on top of this nonsense and all of a sudden at least I feel a lot better. All right, I feel a lot better. I don't know about you because I'm not popular enough. But hey, the advantage of being in the shadows is if I get out, I potentially have a choice of what friends to make, where to go in life, what to pursue. A lot of choices, a lot more than just like, because like, if you just roam around after making friends, you're gonna break a lot of hearts. You're gonna have a lot of feelings, bad memories of like leaving people behind. That could slow you down, and overall, just having friends will slow you down. Because again, you're not supposed to open your mind to all the kinds of things. You have to be in the matrix of friendships and support them and their opinions and spend time with them instead of watching YouTube videos. Right now, we're sort of lonely, but that doesn't mean you're supposed to neglect social media. That still connects us to some degree, right? So, uh, this is why normally conspiracy theories are meant to be blocked, deleted, and but let's see if it's completely worth to risk your channel because they said it. They're like risking their channel for this shit in a way. It's like what? Why? What's the point? There was also a 3 minutes video saying that there's a full video somewhere else on a different website, but they still uploaded here. So I'm like, okay, you shoved it in my face. This better be good. Here's my here's my introduction. I will improve this, but I'm just greedy for watch time. Also, there was pixelation. Yeah, guys, I need some watch time. All right, ready, set, go. Let's see what we can find. Also, don't watch the original unless you into horror movies. I don't know what this shit is, but this doesn't look good. Alright, and I don't know why would you be into horror movies, because that's also very edgy nonsense. You have to have very good reasons. Maybe if you want to scare other people really badly, but you have to be in a very good place to do that. And you have to have plenty of, like, annoying enemies. I don't know, man. You tell me when it's appropriate to watch horror movies, because I don't see it. I have to be super duper clean when it comes to the content that I pursue. But this time I'm like forced. This is a force, and spirit science is kind of known for being positive, so this is like offbeat nonsense, right? Because if you look into their channel, it's like animated, uplifting, spiritual crap, but this just so off. It's so off. Also, I like that they finally squeezed everything together, because goddamn it was ugly. Every single button, it felt like was the same size, but now it's normal. You can see, like, it's uplifting, sort of fluffy stuff, nothing too serious. But now, when we have to upload a very serious video, oh my god, isn't that interesting? It's almost like, you know, a hidden rant video. Because when you say that you have the ultimate something, that's usually just a rant, unfortunately. You're just gonna rant about something, you're gonna cluster everything together, and it's just gonna turn into your personal frustration and not much else. So let's see if my predictions are correct. Jump in there.
Change one's belief changes your experience of life, and most people are happy just letting things be as they are.
That's a pretty deep thing, because if you're a truly courageous or virtuous human being, you should be able to at least date me for one day. You should be able to respect me for one day, because I'm also a human being. I'm not a monster that eats children. I would like to be and snap my fingers into doing that, because that would be at least fun to see people's reactions, but I can't do that. So, but I don't feel like I'm being treated as a human being, unfortunately. That I get the time and effort that I put into other people back to myself. So, it pisses me off a little bit, but it just proves that, oh, well, you guys not ready to date me, so I'll just gonna keep moving forward with myself. And until you change your mind, I'll just keep collecting power. I think that's fair. And once I start finding people who are willing to actually break from the Matrix just for one day, consider more information than you generally get to find randomly, then, you know, now we can talk about bonding of some kind, but it's still, like, so stupid. I'm, like, surprised that rarely such people show up. Because I couldn't find a single one. A normie that wants to explore complicated things? Nah, bro. Just for the sake of it, you know? Just for the sake of spending a day in a different sort of, in a different mindset, in a different way. Just to lure a person into the shadows and to show how it all works. Like, that's all I want, and I just want to see the reaction as well. That's quite an experience, to be honest. But yeah. That's, well, quite an elaborate thoughts. And I keep having those. This year is pretty insane when it comes to the acceleration of all the knowledge I've accumulated, the breakthroughs I've made.
Is that most people are not seeing it, simply not looking, or not even wanting to look. In modern science today, there are many scientists searching for an all-pervading theory of everything, something that unifies quantum mechanics and the theories of relativity. And so today, we respectfully present to you the conspiracy theory.
Yeah, you mean one of these? They just reminded me of, oh yeah, spirit science is about science. And science of stupid things, basically. Let's combine all the stupid things together instead of like smart things. It just gave me a, a trip of like, oh yeah, everything matters. But it's just a trip, alright? It's a separate thing. But like anything I hear, I feel, I sense, everything matters to me and me alone. But this is my shadow experience. This is what happens when you open your mind and you completely disconnect. Everything matters. Nothing is a coincidence anymore. In the shadow world, you're not supposed to be in the shadows. You're not supposed to be outcasted. Someone put you there, and if you have full awareness, basically there's some kind of war happening around you that is trapping you, basically. I'm not exactly sure how to escape this trap, besides patience. Patience seems to be, good enough for me, because I'm climbing in power. And slowly I will be able to face them in person. Because people who, trying to trap me will be concerned that it's not working out. They have to amplify their forces or whatever. But the question is like, why are they trying to do that? That's my conspiracy of everything. But let's see what these guys find. Maybe, we kind of like working in parallel, even though their video is shit. It gives me a whole nother thing to think about. Because again, I'm disconnected. I'm talking to nobody right now. And specifically, I'm not trying to save anyone. Not trying to convince anyone of anything. I'm just expressing my opinion. And the fact that I hate science and this fucking quantum bullshit. But you tell me. You tell me what you find. I mean, you must understand, like, the world has plenty of greed to trap a lot of good people. And it's almost like everything is upside down because the good people are poor and can't find a job or a girlfriend. The bad people, the bad guys, they fuck around whenever. They do whatever. They cannot be stopped unless law changes and tries to catch them. For finally, tries to catch the actual bad guys who just allow crimes to happen or negativity to flourish. We don't need that. The best thing to do is either to escape, to filter out the good people, find morality somehow, and reward people who hold it. Just like universal basic income could go directly to moral people, and all of a sudden inequality is gonna shift a little bit. Because we never know which homeless person is actually moral, and which one of them just are homeless because they're dumb, but it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Once you become homeless, it's very difficult to get out of that shit. But it's still a very, very similar pattern with everyone else's lives. If you get kicked out into the shadows, now people are gonna try and keep you in that position. But it's almost like the consensus is from every single person that I bump into. Consensus is from everyone. So everyone is like possessed with greed, or there's something even fucking more sinister going on that I can't even comprehend. But yeah, like when you open up the spiritual world where everything matters and everything has a completely different meaning, it's impossible to even navigate, to even comprehend how complicated things can get. Because again, a person outside can just say things, it's seemingly to another person, but they're just literally talking to me, just from a distance. Literally talking to me. They don't even see me, but they know that I exist. It's almost like they're conspiring against me. The ultimate conspiracy is when you sit here in the shadows and they're just battling you, basically. Many, many people battling you for some fucking reason. That is a crazy feeling to have.
nature of reality. Now, on that note, I encourage you to please do your own research and go down these rabbit holes yourself and make up your own mind. In this way, you become a conduit of free thought rather than following in the herd.
Again, it's very dangerous, and this is why these videos are being blocked. You're not supposed to get out of line just randomly out of a whim. You have to have a good reason, or you have to have a date with the dark side. You have to find a person in the shadows, and then you can spend time with them. Then you'll be safe, because you'll be at least in real time be able to interact with a person and figure things out, basically. So one reason I could be stuck here, because I'm that fucking genius, and I could harvest tremendous amount of power. But I think, you know, things are kind of getting twisted and weird, because I'm harvesting way too much power. I'm way too happy here, and I'm not, you know, not willing to come out without a bang into most people's faces, basically. So I don't know what it's like. There's something going on around me that I can't even comprehend of how it's gonna work out. But I can only care about myself from my own perspective, which is quite bleak. But yeah, in the shadows, you know, if you want to talk, you want to figure things out, you want to go to the rabbit hole, you better not go there alone. It's just like going into space alone. Well, you're just gonna disappear. That's how people disappear. They just walk around, just wander around in the wilderness, where you can just mysteriously disappear without a trace. Well, that's easy, man. No evidence, nothing, basically. Like, any entity that exists would try and get you in that position where you can just glitch out of the matrix, as these people suggest. And it's very difficult to do that when you're surrounded by people. It's very easy to do that when you're starting going down rabbit holes by yourself, just because someone told you to, which is why spirit science is quite an evil thing, and most detached, popular channels eventually get corrupted, eventually don't look as good as they did in the past. Even though it should be the other way around, because they have time to improve and all that stuff.
In Marvel's Doctor
Another thing, in the darkness, I can actually pick enemies and pick them apart so easily, and they have no ability to retaliate at that point. And they have no ability to, like, get me fired, make me lose friends. There's literally no sacrifice that I need to do, and there's nothing they can do to reach me. So I'm just basically immune to all damage, making me able to just stab someone with a sword and just keep the sword there, and they won't even potentially notice. I'm the master of glitches now. But I have to, you know, pick the right enemies. I have to be excited, passionate about this thing, because the vibe is that these people, they are just on their own now, feeling so confident on their own, exploring these weird places, when they're not supposed to. They're supposed to just harvest what community has to offer, for the most part, or solve some kind of problems. So far, I don't see any problems being tackled. I just see very obscure information that I don't understand, right? They bring up the emerald tablets, and I'm like, you haven't touched the tablets. They don't speak to you. It's just someone else's interpretation. You just gather all this random stuff across the internet and make it look cool, but it's just mashed potatoes, bro. There's nothing crazy about it.
We are active creators of our lives, not
if they harvested information properly, I would be able to contact them and they would see that I'm a little bit different than everyone else. And you take a full interview, inspect fully, but instead they don't do that, so I'll just stab them with a sword. Maybe they'll find it one day, when they stop bleeding. Right now, if you're not patient, if you're not sitting down and strategizing, sharing your plans, and trying to communicate with people, if there's a way to find a safe spot or safe strategies that would prevent you from being crushed by the apocalypse. Like, if you're not doing that right now, what are you doing, bro? What are you doing? I'm probably gonna be safe, but even I will have to struggle like everyone else. But if you're just oblivious, you're not putting any effort whatsoever to try and understand what's going on, that's also kind of fucking weird. Like, you can be a normie, but that doesn't mean that life is simple. You can just do whatever you want. Like, that's not gonna work. You have to find time for just making life better. I have dealt with or talked about this bullshit already. Like, self-improvement is so important that you better focus on that, and then everything else improves. And you will find more time to improve yourself, and it just exponentially goes out of control. But I just don't see it. I can put effort into things and I don't get anything back from anyone at all. Like, I understand if people are busy. I don't understand for everyone to be busy. Which makes also no sense because it feels like everyone is like bored. But I guess they're numbed out by attention from each other and they don't have ability to communicate anymore. Like, I don't get it. The silence is the most confusing thing of all time. And rightfully so, because it's just straight up evil. Alright, it's just straight up evil. And that's what you have to deal with. Regardless, you can look into this video. Does that break the silence? No. These people just created noise on your screen. They don't want to talk to you. They just want to project their fucking ideology and show how they have solved some kind of problem, when in actuality nothing happens. The real matrix is that, you're just being fooled. Pretty often, to be honest. The conspiracy theory of influencers is the actual name. It seems like. Because they're not genuinely trying to figure things out. If you're trying to genuinely figure things out, you have resources to do that. You have so many people you can talk to unless you're full of shit and full of fears. So you're not going to be able to figure things out because you're not using your resources properly. You're not respecting what you have. Instead, you want to project how powerful you are and sit on everyone else's face. But that's just another thing. It's like, who's going to break the silence? Who's going to start doing the normal things and proper things? Technically, streaming is about reacting to what people say to you, but you still don't treat people as real people. Which would be nice if people would be able to stand out, which is just a, part of a system problem. But I also don't consider streaming to be relevant at all. You just actually harvest other people's thoughts to be able to move forward. Of like instant feedback, basically. But that's something you don't actually need, in a way. Maybe you have a question while you're doing streaming, but just like you can have your own experience, you don't need that much guidance at all. And if you're seeking for guidance, it just kind of feels off. It feels off. It's just like getting a deck code for Hearthstone. Well, you know how to, you know what cards you need now. You just need to craft the cards, pay Blizzard, and move on with your life. Or, you know, you can just approach the game in a completely different way. We don't actually need feedback unless it's actually really important to you. But in terms of like streaming games, like it's nonsense. Isn't asking for feedback, like, you're just supposed to have fun, right? Anyways, I don't want to jump into a tangent because I don't feel like it's going anywhere. I just don't like influencers, and I'm trying to bring them down, but it's not going to be easy either. First of all, we haven't even learned to give feedback as a society. We're just like throwing one-liners because that's what we learn in real life. We don't really have much time to say anything. But on the internet, you do have infinite amount of time. Everything is basically a message format, and you can reply to a letter, to a message, to an email. And if you reply with just one line, I'm sorry, bro. But that's the reason why we do that still is because most people don't care. So the one-liner has to be somewhat directed to the YouTuber and to the general public, and make sure that you're not wasting time if it just goes directly to the void and gets lost forever. So it's a very tricky situation. I understand most normies who bump into my channel thinking that they might be, you know, ignored, just like everyone is ignored, but I'm trying to fight back against that as best as I can and see what happens. So this is a usual layer that I put on every single YouTuber, and most of them just break from that pressure alone.
Running rampant. A body of ego.
Yeah, here we go. Starting a horror film, aren't we? Because we're not caring about souls, because we don't care about our propaganda that we fucking embodied for so many years. Am I right? Now we have a reason to project all this fucking nonsense shit. Like, yes, you can look at it things from negative perspective, but I mean, people live better lives than before. You just have to find something else to worry about. You know, there's always diamonds in the rough, and you have to find them in a different way instead of asking everyone to change their minds or whatever, or to look at the world as like an evil mastermind fucking creation. It's tough. It's tough. For me, as an individual base, I'm confused how things truly work, but hopefully, you know, I'll get through this nonsense. But to project this sort of a horror ideology, I mean, it's too much. That's the true conspiracy. Because you have to understand where it all comes from, you know. Influencers, often enough, they turn around and they start conspiring against the people that they have helped. You know, they help you, and then they stab you in the back. It's just the influence economy, which is unfortunately, you know, I mean, how it works and how it's going to be amplified under apocalypse, and people who don't see it. Technically, you can say I'm projecting negativity. I'm projecting. No, it's, you know, they put effort. I guess that's cool. Everyone's putting effort, but it's like a murderer is gonna put effort, and their effort is gonna suck balls. Effort is really big deal, but you also have to be reasonable and care about multitude of things, and not just try to project that one specific thing you care about so much.
Obviously, this makes it very easy for the elite to control the collective mind using all.
Because you don't have a soul and interconnection. No, That's exactly why it's so difficult for elites to control your mind. They're not even trying to. When was the last time government just called you and told you what to do? It's not that easy. You know, if you become an edgy, bored, stressed out person, then you will feel like government is under controlling you somehow. But overall, I mean, that's just not happening from day-to-day basis. And when government takes control over you, there's probably a good reason for it. It's either you have collapsed or government has found out a good reason to contact you personally. So you you got to be more loose on the definitions. You can't just conspire against yourself basically just because some influencer told you to do so. This is this is it's a such a double-edged sword. Like they're trying to sell you an idea and make it look good and make it look scary, and it's just such a twisted nonsense.
The subject of extraterrestrials has mystified humanity for countless generations. The question
Mystified idiots.
of, are we alone in the universe, has inspired us to push forward and advance as a species in the
Degenerate as a species, for space travel does not exist yet. And probably is impossible. But hey, it's fine. Let Elon Musk burn our money. Because he gets the money from the government, and the government taxes us to give it all to Elon Musk. Look how happy he is, though. That's all we get, is just a few pixels of a happy person launching a rocket, and the rocket goes boom! Extraterrestrials found. They should be in jail, though. The extraterrestrials that we found. Oh my god. Every billionaire is a fucking alien. Like you don't need aliens. You just don't need. And whatever you don't need will not exist. Don't worry about it. It's not gonna exist. The world is just overwhelming as it is. You want demons to exist? That's a lot easier. That's a lot easier, and people kind of just agree that demonic, possessive nonsense actually exists. It's a lot easier to comprehend, like, sort of, like, even soul is a lot more complicated to comprehend than demons. Just like, imaginary entities that make you feel really bad. Or just energies that people emit in general. The lingering energies. That's a lot easier to believe than fucking aliens. Something that you never felt, experienced. Something that have their own saucers, am I right? You know? This thing you never experienced. And it's like, oh, if we depict aliens like that, then yeah, of course they don't exist. But have you met every single person on Earth? Have you figured out how every single country operates and what kind of culture they have? It's a lifetime quest, basically, to figure that out. I am sitting here hours and hours and hours exploring just YouTube channels. You can do so much more than that. And once you do, you will stop being distracted by the stupid question of, like, why there's nothing in our universe that wants to contact us. You don't even want to contact anyone else. You just want to sit there silent and watch aliens basically come down to Earth and talk to human beings, but not to you personally, because you don't fucking need them. But then collectively, we don't need aliens. And so, well, they won't exist even just based on that fact, that we don't need them. We can't even communicate between each other properly. But they just simply don't exist. I'm pretty sure these simply don't exist, because we don't need them at all forever. You know, the complexity of just life alone, as it stands with nature, with just humans alone, and how humans can evolve into alien beings, basically. Like, even just the alone question of, like, transgender thing, which actually blows my mind, because, like, could you have hermaphrodites, you know, both things, vagina and a penis combined. Could you have that? Is that possible? Now that's a question. Not whether aliens exist or whether you can evolve within your lifetime to hermaphrodite. That's what I experiment with. And yet we have to talk about these. It's just now old garbage basically. It's just a newspaper type of information that people want to inspire each other about. When it's even for me, it's like useless. I tend to find meaning in everything, but for me, it's like useless. The only useful concept they have invented of like, oh, if alien species attacked humanity, we would all unite against it. But no, we wouldn't. No, we would just unite for the. We wouldn't even know how to unite to begin with. We could try, and that would be quite a breakthrough to just try alone. But it doesn't mean that it's gonna be successful in us trying. Because we're already uniting in terms of like we have to trade goods and services. We have to help each other out in big ways. We have to share technology and breakthroughs and ideas. We already do that, so we don't need aliens to force us to unite either. We just don't need aliens. Alright? So looking for aliens is just kind of a deranged, another degenerate thing that people do. But hey, here you go. More horror films for me, I guess.
From this truth.
Oh, wow. We're trying to just bend the truth now. So, moon landings are not only real, but they found aliens. So that's why they destroyed the footage. Not because it was fake footage where you inspect the footage and you find more clues of why it's faked. Oh no, there's difference. The alien. Why are we fucking listening to this bullshit? What the fuck? If we cannot inspect something, it's not scientific, it's not real, that's how we're supposed to think. If we cannot make that scientific experiment locally, in a local town area at least, where 10,000 people live, if we cannot do a scientific experiment, it doesn't exist. Alright? If there's a specific technology you need to have, or whatever, to make an observation, it's not science anymore. It's a technology junkie tripping, balls tripping, basically. You know, if you give me a smartphone, all of a sudden I can make more scientific experiments than I could have done before. If you give me a microscope, maybe I can make more scientific experiments, because microscope is piece of shit technology. Alright, we're just zooming in into something we don't understand anymore. And now we're like, oh, the body's full of bacteria. Is bacteria harmful to us? What do we do? There's so many moving things on our bodies. We just get scared, obviously. We start tripping with science. And here you go. We can just twist the reality as much as we want. And people attempt to do that. But the reality is much more simpler when you use logic and you understand that whatever you can't observe yourself, it's not real until it's presented to you. So you can observe it finally. So, don't bother. Just, that's why people take an approach that life is simple, because, yeah, it can be simplified to such an extent where most of the stuff that people say don't actually matter.
Area 51.
Just alone fucking Americans of full of alien fucking Jews flowing around. Because you just don't know how Americans actually spiritually operate. What? Maybe ripple effects happen in America where you send information there and everyone sort of feels it and knows it and just moves on with their life very quickly because they're fucking rich, bro. Like, it's so complicated to just unentangle a mess and basically just being distracted. The conspiracy theory of everything is just you being distracted by all this useless shit for some reason. But again, if you look at it through Americans' perspective, it's a scam. If you can scam people, you'll be sexually charged of like, oh, I'm superior. I've been able to, implant bullshit thoughts in people's minds or whatever, or be able to spread the bullshit information onto someone else, but not me. I'm the smart one. But if you're not being honest about it in the end, if you don't jinx people of like, see, I tricked you. If you truly believe you're bullshit, then I'm sorry, bro. Because you always have to double check. Are you wasting people's time, or are you actually talking about something that's generally important to know? And no. Conspiracy theory about everything is supposed to be quite important, and not just a combination of a bunch of conspiracy theories that does not create like you can try and put all sorts of foods together. You're not gonna have a meal just by default, just because you smash something that's edible. It might not have a flavor or a combined chemical structure that's edible anymore. It could just turn into shit. So far, I mean, we're halfway there, and it seems like it's not going anywhere. I'm slowly in a position where I have just enough power to discover like some crazy things. All right, it's almost like ridiculous to share it, but like because everything matters and everyone is talking to me, they don't have to be negative, but they could be challenging, right? They could be challenging of like, what is my maximum potential power? And so I'm sort of interconnected with people in the shadowy way, where random people come and contribute. They're like super small, but you can imagine an entire fucking ecosystem of people just trying to contribute, because I will be able to deliver some tremendous, crazy experience that very unique for everyone. And already I'm doing it simply because I'm breaking down the stupidity behind all these weird things that don't really elevate me at all. It's just a horror show of nonsense. Like we have this, but it doesn't excite me anymore. It didn't went anywhere. I've seen the ending of this UFO thing. Like, yeah, there might be lights in the sky, but it doesn't go anywhere. I can't just call up a fucking alien just because I have psychic powers. And it's irrelevant to me. So the more powers I have, the more easier it is to detect bullshit, because it literally doesn't exist in your life. You ask of like, is there a unicorn? Yes, there's a unicorn. Is there an alien? Not really, but there's a skeleton emoji. Skull emoji. Is that good enough for you guys? I never in my life needed an alien emoji, bro. What the fuck? So, if we don't need alien emojis or UFO emoji, probably there's no reason for these things to exist, unfortunately. But hey, there's another thing about Americans. They love horror stories so much, and aliens kind of produce that extraterrestrial brainiac, appearance of like they're so smart. They can do whatever they want. They can create aircraft and avoid detection of humans. But sometimes we see the flashing lights or whatever. It's just a horror show, Just something to be excited about that has nothing to do with anything. But that's as far as it goes, and you will never experience anything deeper than that. Like, it's pointless. I just looked into milk and started tripping out, like, people just want to be sometimes vegan because they tell to themselves that the cow milk is just for, their babies. But, like, I mean, if you like it, it's just milk. Milk that everyone has. Or every, female has, technically. But it's like, You don't have to exaggerate that you're like an invasive species and everyone should be separate. Every single species of animal should be separated from each other and not interact in any way. That's kind of stupid. Also, cows eat grass for us. We can't eat grass. So there's a reason to respect that shit and yeah, drink the milk because it's fucking magic. We're drinking grass, guys. It's impossible for us to do that. So, congratulations. Just worship cows a little bit more. Make them happier, but you don't have to fucking become super vegan. Oh my god. The only thing that's gonna happen is you're gonna get punched in the face. And you have no ability to stand back up because you were drinking shit milk. There's vegan options of milk to drink. Except you're also going to be drinking your wallet while you're at it. You're not supposed to over-exaggerate how important life is. Like, these things are living creatures who come in and out of my life. And they just feed into my matrix. Feed into my powers. And just kind of turn me into a completely different creature than you would normally find. But that's fine. That's their life. That's their spiritual journey of just contributing in a certain way. Whatever they feel like. I can control them, but I can't control the ecosystem that surrounds them and how happy they would feel doing so. So if you look into humans as spiritual creatures, that's a very interesting perspective, at least. And basically there's three types of things. You have the normies, you have the shadow people who kind of act like question marks. Every now and then you're going to be questioned, are you a good person? Can you do something? All these questions you have to answer to other people. And if you're actively doing that, then you're like emerging ecosystem or a celebrity. If you desperate to connect to people, then you might be able to crash into someone and land basically like an alien in a way. That is an alien narrative. Being a shadow person and you crash land into someone's life. That's an alien narrative because you come from the shadows. You have a completely different mindset of how life works. It's a little bit, disappointing for people to know, so they want to exaggerate things and they want to pop their eyes out of like, oh my god, the alien is going to be like this and that. But the moment you have expectations is the moment you lose, first of all, sanity and ability to control what happens. Because you're not supposed to have expectations to allow more opportunities. You might just be missed by the alien simply because you expected it not to be a human being. Just again, life alone is complicated enough that you don't need to overcomplicate things. You just don't need to. And you don't need to oversimplify things either. And the celebrities that I didn't mention, they're just stable ecosystems. Stable bubbles. You know what's inside there. You know who they're connected to, who they're married to, how many children they have. They project everything. They're just figured out. But, you can still question if something weird happens. Can you justify the existence of that ecosystem if it's unstable all of a sudden? If they stabbed you in the back, if there's a story of someone complaining over there and over there. But overall, this is how it works. You have question marks, you have just random people walking around and looking for things, and you have established people who are completely safe in their own little place. They will not get fired that easily. They will not need to move out. They can do plenty of things within their circle of control and all that stuff. So here you go. Just a reminder of those three things, but in a different way, because now shadow people can, again, do two things. They can turn into a celebrity immediately, or they can just be knocked out and into some kind of a cluster of friends, basically. Because you need to need to be saved and be appreciated. So you need to find friends immediately, the moment you're like figured out, the moment you're not a question mark anymore. You are a question mark if you keep doing bad things of like, why would you do that, right? That's what turns you into a question mark, into a shadow person. So I don't I don't think I'm a question mark anymore. I'm an emerging ecosystem, as I say, because I'm already like, if I have psychic abilities, if I have such deep understanding of how life works, now I'm just a threat. Now nobody wants to have me in their friend zone, because that would be pretty disturbing and overwhelming and a huge responsibility. And who knows what's gonna happen? So I'm a different type of question mark of like, how do we create an establishment instead of in this particular location? Is this correct? What's going on? So people have to like rearrange themselves around me now, which is absolute madness. All right, so at least this thing inspired me to move a step closer, and that's good enough for me. I'm not gonna complain, but if you guys hate UFOs, you can trash this video and pee down in the comments. Hopefully it smells just enough so, something like this happens. Look at that shit. Thank you. Thank you. Another thank you? No? Christ is coming, boys. Fucking Christ is coming, bro. Yeah, Christ is potentially a higher level being than an alien. So Christ is something that is in fact the shadow person turning into a new ecosystem where completely new things are available. New superpowers, everything's new. So that's basically a Christ, a personal Christ in a way, if you will. A personal like life coach to you, because a life coach is gonna just pump you a bunch of superpowers, a bunch of advice of how to improve your life, and it immediately changes everything. So yeah, Jesus Christ is not a singular human being, is just another story to define something. Here you go. See it again, you see the same narrative of the second coming of Jesus or aliens showing up. That's just impossible. Because these are definitions and not real things. I believe right before I started hearing voices and getting into this messed up situation, or just transcendent, or changed the direction of my life entirely, I felt off for like 3 days. Like my mind was just completely in a white noise situation where I barely like understood what's going on anymore. Like so numbed out. Like a disease of I've never felt before. But yeah, I mean, a very similar thing happened after one year of hospital experience, of being pumped with medication. I was unable to control myself. Nothing spiritually happened, but like, you literally fucking facing death of like, am I gonna suffer like this forever? Is it gonna ever stop? And it did stop, but it was so eerie, man. All these weird feelings that you can't control. And I'm not even fucking using drugs or anything. You just get into these weird situations. But the reason why I'm bringing up the white noise feeling is because it's a feeling. It's just overall your feelings are trying to tell you something. And it was just an overwhelming feeling of potentially something happening, which it sort of manifested into slowly. Not that at the same time, I'm not sure the timeline, but it was very, very close into happening. I was dealing like with black-eyed children sort of stories as well at the same time. So it was kind of horrifying. Yeah, there was a lot of crazy shit. But yeah, I shouldn't look back into the past because it's too blurry for me at this point. I just have to keep moving. Now, like, questioning what are ghost stories, and I think ghost stories is a way to, like, try and find a shadow person, try and look for them to find weird people in general, right? Because ghost stories, like, make you do weird things in general. Or just even question normal people and their sanity if they believe in this stuff, right? And how weird is it gonna go? Because you're also almost like conjuring this like a mental illness, which is the same thing with the sexuality movement. It's a conjuring of mental illness, and just seeing what happens if we're gonna create shadow people, if we're gonna create ghosts. You know, because you tell a ghost story not to hunt for ghosts, but to create them, almost. Because a ghost, well, technically ghost hunting is hunting out normies who otherwise would just be completely comfortable being questioned or questioning their own sanity or just living in the shadows alone. Which is, it's a tough position, but they have been a ghost this whole time. They were useless. You know, they couldn't contribute to anyone's life in any meaningful way. So that's another concept that's quite new. We're coming to a close. See, the funny thing is, you can pick up a video like this, and it's some material, and they tell you the title of like what it's supposed to be, but they can't actually create that video themselves, no matter how hard they try. But I'm just sitting down, I'm like, well, I have the superpower to just fix your shit. Except I'm not gonna show any of the random shit that you show. I don't think it's relevant. The only relevant thing to show is subtitles. That's about it.
Lazar claimed that the propulsion of the studied vehicle was fueled by the chemical element with the atomic number 115, known today as Moscovium, or E-115.
Oh my god! That solves everything! Now I can poop while standing up, bro. Oh, or floating. I can float and poop. It changes everything, bro.
Wave after being
They're still going, by the way. There's still oh, there's another atom or whatever. I don't give a fuck, bro. Just show me if you have the technology or something. You're just talking theories, basically. This is so retarded. I can't believe it, man.
alien might look like. We even have an emoji for it.
Yeah, but we don't use it because it's fucking stupid. Yeah, when was the last time you used one of these or one of these or this? You know what? There's plenty of like unusable emojis. But thanks for joining the gang. Like you at least have some reference of how useless it is. What the fuck is this, right? You cannot see that one. This looks better, but like, oh man. Oh look, here's an alien emoji that I will never use because I don't even know what this is supposed to mean. What the fuck is this shit? At least it looks like an eye. I would definitely use that. Oh yeah, if it has an eye. But bro, alien man. I mean, only stoners would use alien emojis. Only fucking stoners.
Though perhaps not.
You know where aliens exist? There you go. It's something that doesn't show up in their videos. It's lack of women. Honestly, lack of women is probably the second breaker. So the first breaker is that everything is just overly complicated. It's kind of useless. And the second breaker, it doesn't even contain, the other side, the other major perspective of life that would at least make someone happy. But to these people, like even women are aliens, I would imagine. If more and more concepts become aliens to you, like there's something wrong going on, bro. You're doing something wrong.
high-level military scanners.
It's very dangerous to just do one video about one conspiracy thing mix. Because in that mix, again, like, where's the nearest woman that I like? Where is that? She could literally own the video if she just appears. Just a flash, you know?
Seen some very interesting
It's kind of like how your penis works. I mean, you don't have a woman for a long time, but then you see one, you start thinking about it. Now you're attracted. Why are you attracted? Because you haven't had it for a long time.
was that the significance of alien life to us isn't really all about ETs at all, but about technology.
I mean, I just showed you very nice pixels on the screen. Yeah, I mean, you can literally twist that into that. It's so easily. Because, yeah, I get to see women on the screen whenever I want and whatever I want. And I can even try and talk to them. Isn't that crazy? But yeah, I mean, we imagined aliens to have greater technology than we do. And that's what makes us salivate and drool. But, like, can we stop? Like, technology is not going to save humanity. Alright? Technology will require more technology to satisfy us, basically. If we build great cities, how do we solve the pollution thing, you know? City is a technology, and now we have to have more technology to save us from pollution and cars and all that stuff, and to make sure that cars have space and they're not crammed into each other. That we have to make sure that people don't have to travel that often, so we all can use roads very quickly. But yeah, I mean, the more technology you have, you're gonna realize, oh, I want more technology to solve all my technological problems. Like it's another, black hole that can suck you in. Good luck.
The very
And now we need alien technology, of course. That's what's going on, basically.
instant that it became available would completely transform life on Earth forever. Imagine suddenly being able to travel to distant planets or explore the universe.
There's so much things to explore. Just YouTube. Explore YouTube. Look around you, bro. Before you get fucking kidnapped and forced to watch YouTube videos. What the fuck is wrong with this shit? Imagine all these things that you're not supposed to do because probably it's impossible anyways. Imagine stealing alien technology. I don't need that shit, okay? No. There's something going on. I want to retitle this thing so badly.
Forget about having power to fuel the entire world's energy requirements forever. You'd have enough power to blow up a planet if you wanted to.
Are you fucking kidding me? Like, these people are just now mentally ill, not even realizing what they're saying anymore. Oh, we can just blow up a planet, guys. I love alien technology. Holy Jesus, man. Maybe it's very good that we're not contacted by aliens. Holy crap. Because the only thing they would want to do is just annihilate these idiots. And they would scream very loud. I don't want to hear that.
Babylonian Brotherhood, or the Illuminati or Freemasons to us today, manipulate global events to keep humans...
Maybe, maybe your video should be banned and your entire channel should be removed from the universe. Just ask aliens to make a new YouTube platform for you guys, because this is not working out very well.
Doctrine, and even the internet. In other words, they control every aspect of our society, and can make us believe.
Oh, hi, government. Where are you? I can't see you. What are you controlling? Have you controlled the sentence that I'm trying to say? Oh no, man, there's everything conspiracy. It's I don't know, man. It's no longer conspiracy theory. It cannot be called conspiracy theory of everything. It's conspiracy insanity, bro. You put so much conspiracy bullshit together that it's now insanity. It has no value to a human being, but let's keep digging, because this is very interesting.
Content and suggestions catered to individual desires better than anything that has ever been done before, keeping the masses glued and engaged on their phones, tablets, and desktops like nobody's business, and have been specifically designed to manipulate our thoughts and feelings.
Yeah, but I thought you liked technology. What happened? Oh no, is it we're glued out to screens? Oh no. I need alien technology though. To destroy planet. What the fuck is wrong with you? Relax. I'm watching your video, bro. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for doing that.
Future behaviors and affecting.
Basically, people's niceness is taking the advantage of them now. Because, again, we people come down to this channel and try to be nice and try to defend the concepts. And it's like, what the fuck is that? What is that? I can't do it anymore, you know? And I'm surprised that people still keep going deeper and deeper into this nonsense. Because the more you reinforce, the deeper these idiots can go. And they're encouraging you to give them the feedback of like, oh, I went into this rabbit hole, blah, blah, blah. Just keep going. You're doing great. You know, just add more of this stuff. We need more of these kind of movies. This is a 90-minute special, meaning that the actual movie is probably a little bit longer than this, which is disgusting, bro. Watch the full unedited. I want to watch the unedited version. What? What do you mean unedited?
Voluntarily.
By the way, imagine if COVID lasted a lot longer, we would all of a sudden start conspiracy theorizing about it. But it didn't last. All right, so this whole technology is trying to control us narrative is gonna change to something else. Don't worry about it. Don't get too worked up about it. Something is gonna break. Something is gonna change. Everything works in a cyclical manner. So we're gonna finish this off. But impatient people are gonna start fucking melting their brains out because it's not over yet. The technology is getting better and it sucks in more and more people. What's going on? Patience. You ran out of patience. That's what's going on.
Who programmed the AI?
Exactly. Who did it? Am I right? The problem is, we did it to ourselves, collectively. That's it. That's your fucking answer. The conspiracy theory of everything is that we fucking ordered this shit to our homes. Alright? And we have to fix it. We have to unite and fix and start shifting to a different sort of state where technology is not improving exponentially. Because it's not going to do anything. It's just going to make more problems. The technology can save or can solve, but we would need to invent more and more and more stuff, which would get out of control anyways. You know, just like everything contains bugs, everything contains glitches, and these things can stack and interlap with each other. Maybe AI is like a glitch box. You know, maybe you get the answers and everything is working quite well. Or maybe it's just a glitch that you're not supposed to listen to. Because it's like, if you find the information yourself, if you put a little bit more effort, you learn a lot more about that information. How about that? You know, you've solved something, or did you created a problem, Mr. ChatGPT? The only thing I want is what rhymes with things, because I write poems, guys, now, for randomly. I think it's fun.
Why bother fixing the real world when the in-game world is always perfect, beautiful, or at least exactly as it's designed to be?
It's also fucking boring. And no, don't worry about it. It's not exactly how is it designed to be. It can also have glitches and stupid things. But mostly it's boring. No one figured out how to make games yet. It's just they created fluff for your eyes to look at. But it's not very entertaining at all.
Super powerful body? Or a super sexy one? How do you want your face to look? You can customize it to your...
But don't worry, guys. You can focus very intensely into this one thing where you can transcend yourself into a game, into a simulation. There's problems to that madness, alright? There's technology that is becoming invasive and all that shit, and again, now if you're talking about them controlling you, now we have game developers controlling your stuff and indirectly in a way. You might get mad at them eventually, and you make all these investments and they just kind of get destroyed anyways. But yeah, like you focus on this intensely as well, you're gonna probably miss some real life implications of why we had real life in the first place and all this virtual shit. But you know, we have to make mistakes to understand the mistakes that we've made and how impactful they are. Also, her eye color is zombie.
Wiring your thinking pattern.
See, the first immediate danger of just VR nonsense is that you're gonna get to see things that, yet again, just like with the conspiracy nonsense, you won't be able to actually share that experience with anyone. It's just like your own personal experience that is very intensely amplified. Like in a dream world, you wake up and you forget the dream very quickly. But in VR environment, you have submitted yourself to this weird experience. So it better be good. It better be good. It better solve some kind of problem. Otherwise, just entertainment that encompasses your entire field of view and creates weird memories and that can be manipulated and jump scared you into, you know, a heart attack or something. I'm not doing that.
Inside of the game, exactly what doesn't even happen to your physical body. If you were to rewire your consciousness and brain inside of the game world.
Oh yeah, another thing that would happen is you just die. You know, you forget to eat and drink and breathe. You just die because you want to live in that fantasy world so much. So, bye. Go away. No one needs you.
In humanity.
We are already experiencing changes. I sit next to a computer, not by my own will, okay? Not by my own will. I just don't know how to break through. Obviously, I'm focusing on the wrong thing. I'm focusing on a computer, and I want to break through by focusing on a computer, right? It's a tough one. You have to like fight fire with fire to break fire at some point. There's something weird about it, obviously, but I'm looking into a computer. I'm looking into the human part of it. You know, trying to communicate somehow and see if there's some kind of exit that can happen, like through dating apps. Just I'm looking for an exit very desperately. I know it's out there. I just you know, go into the real world and it's like, oh, that's the exit, but it's not really the exit when everyone is staring at the screen, right? The exit is quite a question mark. Now, like, there has to be a social event that happens where everyone gathers and does something specific that I can understand, not just walks around. That's a zombie event. You know, it's a little bit different. Because we have to, like, make friends, most importantly. So that would be the exit, normally. And you don't need to contribute anything, you just have to show up. But yeah, I will investigate, you know, where's that exit? Now I'm just kind of panicking. Because my body does suffer if I just spend time sitting in the virtual space in a way. It suffers. And if you amplify this effect, well, it's gonna get worse and worse. You're just disrespecting real life to such a degree that it's very questionable if you're doing the right thing anymore.
As part of the human race strives to live in this new world, and another part rebels against it, or simply cannot afford to play the game. Further, once brain integration happens and mass data is collected on people's reactions to certain stimuli or events, the artificial intelligence could skillfully filter and alter your perception in reality, or completely guide your experience in VR so that you rarely, if ever, have a desire to stop using it. All this technology, especially putting your consciousness into a game, will at some point give the game creators an awareness of everything about you, your thoughts, your feelings, your choices, and it would allow anyone with the know-how to monitor you on a very intimate level. And yet, most people will probably skip past the 50 to 100 pages of terms of service and press accept anyways, because the ability to shoot fireballs and fly is waiting for them on the other side of the sign-up page. And seeing the pinnacle of all of this together, as humanity grows and becomes more advanced and can even create an entirely robot body, if we can transfer our consciousness, our thoughts and memories into a machine, then we could exist with a robot body just like Ultron himself. When that day comes, we will be forced to ask, what constitutes a human being? Now, to some people, this already sounds amazing and can't wait for the future. However, the conspiratorial aspect of this comes in the form of a question. As we step into the next 100 years of change and beyond, who is really running the show? The foundation of the internet as we know it is rooted in algorithms beyond anyone's understanding, designed almost entirely for the purpose of profit and marketing. Who controls these algorithms? Who dictates what we see? Currently, our attention is essentially open to the highest bidder. But is it possible that the AI itself could take us all over? And if we are integrated into this collective mind, is it possible for someone to simply decide what we think and feel? Even when the internet was in its infant stages, people were fantasizing about free and open access to information revolutionizing the world. And while that tech did become available, social media has also come to the forefront and allowed some of our worst primal instincts like tribalism and manipulation to resurface with greater strength than ever before. To go deeper into this, we must acknowledge that we're all responsible for our own behavior. But as far as social media is concerned, how we use this technology is also beholden to those who created it. In a recent Netflix documentary called The Social Dilemma, several ex-employees of many social media tech giants like Google, Facebook, Instagram, and more sat down to reveal what they had inadvertently created with this pioneering technology, a monster. They explained that they have created a world in which billions of lives are affected by the decisions of a small number of programmers, a social reality in which through the way that the apps and software work, it facilitates very small and subtle changes in the way that people think and feel. It's so subtle that you don't even know it's happening. But the result is that it's very small and subtle changes in the way that people think and feel. It's so subtle that you don't even know it's happening.
It's not subtle. It's whatever you consume is gonna bite back onto you. And it has nothing to do with subliminal messaging, nothing. It's how you make memories, where you spend your time. That's what's gonna, turn around and show you its values over time in the future. So you gotta be careful.
Every single thing that
There's a dude called Insanity Machine. And he was like, oh look, you're making 2-hour videos, what a loser. You're probably disappointed in your life. But I'm like more disappointed in people who just spend time on social media and staring at their screen and doing nothing to contribute or to at least condense the content that they have consumed. Now there's a lot of shit that lives within you, a lot of, or just I disrespect not honest people in general. So, it's the only respectable part about these videos or any video at all is there's some honesty about it.
to warm you up.
But in order to achieve higher level of honesty, What you have to do is become a normal human being and stop talking about aliens and high-level technology. You gotta stop doing that. Alright, I haven't finished Tetris yet. I'm level 15, we need to reach level 50, bro. On Tetris. Actually, I just have a button clicker game. There's nothing happens. You don't have to match anything. You don't have to collect a line of blocks. You don't have to collect diamonds. No, you just click. Click, man. Actually, things do change when you hit 1,000 points. I get very excited.
And perhaps most critical question.
Again, the most critical thing is why are you being so fucking nice when you're so uncomfortable? But you're nice because like, oh, I'm still interested though. What the fuck? Bro, you have nothing better to do than just pray that better technology shows up, but you're so uncomfortable that everyone's staring at the screen. But you're still looking at all this advanced technology and you're stitching everything together. You know, like, it's disgusting, basically. And there's nothing real about this. There's nothing consistent about this. It's just stock footage over a rant, you know. Finally, a rant can look very beautiful. Isn't that crazy?
People with hope for the world are.
Now I'm like, yeah, maybe transgender movement is pretty good, because these people have to be turned forcefully into women and suck dick a little bit, just to realize that whatever they're doing is kind of useless, because they're so detached from just a natural way of American culture, at least, of putting sex somewhere in the video, in some kind of way. If you cannot put women, then I don't know. Come up with something, bro. Sexual, please. Because if you don't do that, like, you didn't even talk about conspiracy theory of everything. You don't know where it leads to. You know, we could all create all this nonsense, overwhelming nonsense, because we are emotionally still charged somehow to do these things for other people or whatever. But hey, you can miss the point entirely, I guess.
Founder of Facebook.
Again, when I look in porn, it feels like anti-racism is a punishment to people. That when you deal with black people, it's just a punishment. You know, they're the punishers, sexual punishers. And the same way with trans, it's like they're just gonna punish you for being a bad man, but you might be a good woman, you know, if you restart your life. So the sexual movement is just a punishment movement for all the idiots that think that they can talk about anything and do anything and specialize in anything, especially on YouTube. No, thank you. But there's some punishment coming up. Alright, climbing your mountain, my friend. If you stay there too long, they might catch up. I am creating an interesting relationship here. You have men and women. I still don't know which one to use. Technically, women here and men here. So this is men. And this is women. So if a man looks at another man, the reason why I bring this up, there's a graphic of this. If a man did the same thing and stared at another man, they would probably project fear or just generally power, right? It would be a power dynamic of like, oh, I'm fearless. No, I'm fearless. No, but mostly like if a weaker man would stare at this fucking armed person, like it would show the sort of some kind of power over them. But then you have women staring at other women. What would happen if they do that? I think that, like, because they're emotionally charged, they would be like, oh, we're failures, basically. We're looking at each other. We're failing to love the world, you know. We have to love each other now. It's kind of like a failure mentality, and this is a aggression mentality. And if, you know, and you have this straightforward mentality, I think, or interconnected, or sex. Have you been educated about sex more? Just by looking at a person, you can send information based on your gender, you know. And gay relationships don't really look very good. It's kind of if you don't feel like a failure, you can stare down on other women who are actual failures, who identify themselves as failures. So it's possible to be in this battle mode. And again, that's another reason to be gay. There's some hidden things, man. But this guy doesn't even talk about it. I'm just like, oh, you showed me a random graphic that has nothing to do with whatever you're talking about.
Science. Movies like Zeitgeist outline and identify ways.
It's an old movie from a person who is just an idiot. Turned out to be an idiot. So this movie just loses all the reputation. You can look forward towards something. When someone makes a successful movie, they're probably gonna either show their face or do something more. And eventually they might just lose all the reputation that they have built. All the house of cards just falls apart. So the Zeitgeist bullshit has, you know, disappeared from relevancy, unfortunately. Peter Joseph is a nutcrack.
Science and religion have been at odds for a very long time. Sharp.
Probably because their opposite is bad. You know, they're just as bad. Each of them are just as bad. And we potentially have just enough religion to create just as much science if these are like direct opposites. Because we have a lot of old people right now. And they potentially, you know, outweigh all the young people. Because we get to have houses, we get to have kind of nice people around. But if we just give in to the science in general and technology and all that shit, or just the mindset alone, and we don't have religion to outweigh, we would get into quite a lot of trouble. And right now, because we're having a science fueled generation of people, we can start seeing the downside of science very quickly. Or year by year, the downside of science is gonna amplify quite a bit. Now, that's a good reason to explore what religion is, and can religion fight against science? So that's a video I'm gonna make in the future. That's a pretty cool idea.
Fourth.
I hate these things both equally, but I want to see how much influence they can collect.
If you help someone cure their depression, it's very difficult to.
Hey, you want some BS drugs? Man, I would buy that shit up. I need to prescribe that shit to a lot of people, man. Also, I found his daughter, the girl of the video. There you go, the woman of the
Passed
video.
down for generations, yet may not hold our highest interest.
Sunglasses.
These beliefs shape
There you
our
go.
perspective of the world, and in that, how we behave.
Yeah, your world has been
and act,
shaped.
which leads us to create our destinies.
All right, your destiny has been created. Suck a dick now, and find this girl for yourself. That's it. That's all you get. I'm not joking around. Like, world has enough magic where whatever I said actually makes a lot of sense. This is the only girl that like stands out of everyone. That's like zoomed in so much. But no other graphic like wanted to do that for some reason. So here's a girl for you. So your new girlfriend, all right? Try and chase her now. Watch complete 4-hour movie, boys. You like the 4-hour version? So 4 hours would be 240 minutes. which is technically 3 times longer than one we just watched. I mean, no thanks. No thanks, bro. I mean, if you need an alien emoji, you put it right there. You put it right there. It seems pretty scary. And it's just like, again, it's about technology. This whole thing is about technology the whole way through. So conspiracy theory of everything is just technological advancement of like it could go infinitely to infinite heights, you know? It's always like that narrative, reoccurring narrative like, oh, we invented something so we can infinitely grow it, but it's just not gonna work. We have to rotate to something else because it's not helping me. It's just, you know, people still haven't discovered that I exist and haven't started respecting me. And even if they did discovered me, now it would be government trying to control me and trying to not just offer me things, but like literally trying to change my life against my consent. The only empty space I have for people is to respect me, to, you know, find ways to sort of entertain me in a back and forth way. I call it a conversation. I still don't get that. All right, so technology haven't even started. Debates, massive debates, trying to break down people's niceness. They just feed off people's niceness, and they don't see the bullshit pattern that arises from just, you know, consuming niceness from people, trying to be as masked as possible, because you don't see the programmers who are building all these systems. You don't see the end credits for anything. You cannot explore this stuff. Who is creating all these things? Who's behind spirit science? You don't get to see none of this shit, bro. So those are the controllers. If you don't know who is sending you information, they are the government, technically, because they act like it, very much so. And yeah, there's a lot of weird things about life, and there's a lot more things to learn, and it has nothing to do with technology or to that extreme level. I guess maybe I'm exaggerating, but these people have exaggerated to such a degree that I'm like, well, technology kind of sucks, even though I will be continuing to stare at a screen. But I solved my problems. I don't need more technology. I don't need to constantly upgrade my phone. It's irrelevant to me. I have what I need. You know, I'm not desperate to go above and beyond and find alien technology to improve my life. I'm just like, when are we gonna go to the next thing? You know, but right now what we're staring at are losers who are stuck, who I'm trying to pull away from this stupid thing that they're talking about and go to the next thing so life could improve more, you know, and not technologically anymore, I think. Again, I could be very much exaggerating. Technology seems to occupy a pretty high level space. Or maybe it's rising. It's still gonna rise for the next generation, but yeah, I mean, I do feel like we're supposed to invent social technologies, not social media anymore, because that's not social technology. This is a place for you to brag around. But we have built something even more, which is a stable platform to upload whatever you feel like. So the last thing is just to make it more social, and that would be just the final step, final upgrade. While YouTube itself, just YouTube alone, the whole internet as a whole is in this generation. YouTube alone is in this generation, where you know, again, we can sort of do whatever we want, and we can even get paid for it. And TikTok is now the first generation. And then we're going to be able to govern ourselves and our places based on what YouTube videos we upload. And then we're going to socialize that shit as well. But when it comes to the internet, the last thing is to make it more social. It's very complicated stuff. I need that ultimate clock thing to understand where things are going and how things look in general. I don't know. So you can complicate things just by seeing patterns and putting them together. It's bad enough. I don't need high level technology when I don't have high level problems to solve. Anyways, we gotta go. Bye. It's already, I could stretch it to 2 hours. Obvious. We could eat a candy, to be honest. I mean, after all, they have a 4 hour rant, basically, about whatever. About fears that they have. You know, if you have fears and you're starting to express yourself, it will sound like conspiracy theory of everything, because you're so fearful of a lot of things of the future that technology holds. But that's the whole point. Like, stop staring at technology. We have to switch to something else that would satisfy us a little bit more. And there's a lot of people who are waiting for that thing to start appearing so they have hope to just transition through the entire history of technology. Basically, there's a lot of people, right? So let's say this is a cycle and there's one piece of technology. There's a lot of people in real world who doing still just kind of waiting, who are collecting the good things from the past, who are making families and all that stuff. But they're still also waiting for like technology to improve to the point where it's actually usable the whole way through. It's supposed to be a smooth experience. And then we can break through into this new question mark thing of what are we going to focus on next? You know, that's it. That's how it's going to work. But if you feel like technology can improve to infinity, you're also neglecting the future and the past. People from the past, again, who are just doing their job, going on vacations, making families, making friends, being just normal people who don't actually engage in too much technology whatsoever, and definitely don't want to be microchipped and tracked all the time. No thanks. So please, open your mind a little bit more, since you did that already, and learn some actual fucking things about life. Anyways, see you guys next time.